What's up, players? Welcome to another special episode of Ready Press Play, being brought back from the grave yet again around the annual Game Awards presented by Jeff Keighley, so that we can do some predictions, catch up just in general, see how we're doing, see which games we're playing, if anything. But mostly talk about the Game Awards, what are our predictions for it, what do we think is going to get announced, who's going to win. Lewis and I have the tally year after year that we've been running. I guess this is episode 152
Three?
of Ready Press
Oh
Play.
yeah, wait.
Three?
We did 151 and 152 last year, right? Because we did
Yeah,
two
something like
episodes.
that.
So I think it's 153.
Okay, 153. We actually got
Yeah.
to double check that.
Yeah.
But welcome to episode 153 question mark of Ready Press Play. We were your biweekly source for everything that's new and exciting in the world of video games. Once your weekly source, and now your yearly source, maybe. Uh,
We should probably consider doing a quarterly source at least. But
yeah,
okay.
yeah, I agree with that. Well, this is your host, Dan Lima, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Louis Menchaca.
Dan, getting on this video call with you has made me realize how much I miss this. Part of me almost kind of regrets us ending it, but at the same time, it was kind of like the grind. It's like you
Mhm.
look back at school and you think of all the good times, but you don't miss the grind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand. You don't miss the day-to-day assignments and homework
And the
and
studying, late
and
night study. Yeah,
tests
yeah,
and yeah, and the finals and the finals week with everything happening at the same time and all that. You're just like, good times with your friends.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, with Ready Press Play, it was such a fun project for pretty much all of it, or at least like the majority of the time. It was always fun to record it. There were times where like the preparation of the show leading up to it, and then also the editing after the fact, could feel like a little bit of a grind. I'm sure that you can agree to that to
Yes.
some extent, Lewis.
Yeah, a lot of like late nights and stuff and that's part of it's my fault because I edit really really slowly. But
Hmm.
yeah. Um yeah, I do I miss the tea, man. Like we have a lot of pre-game calls like whenever we
Hmm.
talk before we start recording, and it's like, damn, man, we've become a little bit strangers. I think that's my fault because I don't really do a good job of like calling you or texting you. And also it kind of feels like on
I
my
feel like
daily on
that's
my
you.
day
I feel like that's you fishing for compliments. Honestly.
but like on my daily, like it feels like nothing's new with me or whatever. It's same
Hmm.
old. But it's there's stuff happening and stuff. I'll
Yeah.
tell the audience this. I will divulge this to the audience, and because I'm really not ashamed of it, although I probably should be ashamed. But I was unemployed for like the last 10 months out of the last 12 months we've been meeting up or whatever since we last met up. I was unemployed for 10 months and I was unemployed on purpose because I did get let go. Like me getting let go from my job was actually not like had nothing to do with me. I was told by the manager's like, nah, no, it's not a personal thing. It's just whenever like there was like a company merger and so there was redundancy, so they don't need me, so that kind of stuff. So they and then also like I got a text from them like a month later saying that they regretted letting me go. So that's kind of cool, flex.
Hmm.
But I didn't go out of my way to apply for new jobs because I like basically wanted to be a lazy ass couch potato and I wanted to be like financially like financially independent, retire early kind of thing. I wanted to live the life of a retired person at age 35. And I did. I got to live my retirement dream and I will go on the record and say that this past year was the best year of my adult life,
Nice.
bar none. So I
I, don't know,
did. Oh, go ahead.
I love hearing that. I love that it's not a yeah, I was just like too depressed and miserable in the couch and I was just trying to get a job and just couldn't. That those kinds of stories that you sometimes hear. Like I take it that you shouldn't even call it what you're calling it. You should just call it a sabbatical.
Yeah,
You
it
just you
wasn't.
took
Yeah,
your sabbatical,
yeah.
that's the modern way of calling it.
I
Yeah.
applied for two jobs and I got the second job.
Cool.
Yeah, and also I am four for four because of the five jobs I've had, the four of those jobs I had to interview for because one of them I didn't have to interview for. But
Mhm.
that means like I'm four for four because every time I've ever had an interview, I got the job.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That's pretty good.
yeah.
I cannot say anything even remotely close to that in my career. Granted, it's a very unique kind of
Yeah.
career where it's hard enough to get an interview, but when you get the interview, it's still hard enough to get the job because there's a
Yeah.
lot of like technical stuff that you got to get through.
And it just
Um,
it just so happens that this week, like the week of recording this, like this past Monday, I started my new job. So
yeah,
literally, like, yeah, it's thank you. It's like
congratulations.
I'm doing that thing where it's like it's like the sleepiness and drowsiness. Like fuck that, just get that out of here. That's how I feel like right now. It's
Yeah.
I miss this feeling actually. I'm not gonna lie. It's nice to feel like a productive member of society. I'll say that.
hmm yeah, I've basically since you gave an update, I'm trying to think of like what update I should give, and I'm trying to think of where I would have been as of the last recording of this because it was so long ago that I can barely remember it.
I think you
But
already moved cross country by the time last year's recording
yeah,
happened. So
yeah, I had moved to Orlando. I'm still in Orlando. I've been at EA for almost 5 years now, which is interesting.
you know
At
what?
different
I just
yeah.
realized, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I just
There you
realized
go.
that we did not meet our yearly quota of calendar year 2024 seeing each other IRL.
Oh shit, you're right. Didn't you were talking about coming here
Damn it.
this time. You
You
were
know what?
talking
I
about
could
coming to
have.
Orlando.
I could have. I
Yeah.
had all the time in the
I
world and I didn't. I didn't even,
I
the thought never crossed my mind.
I got a guest bedroom set up now and everything. I did not have it when you first talked to me. We actually like we put off setting up our guest bedroom for a long, long time. And we kept having certain family members come and stay over and spend the night on the couch. And at some point, we're like, okay, we got to do this. It was actually Leah has a younger brother that was coming to stay with us for a while, and because he was actually going to stay for like over a week, then we figured we should probably actually set up. That was the fire in the ass that we needed to like, okay, let's go and set up. We have this bedroom that's just here accumulating clutter. Let's turn it into something useful, and so we did that. But yeah, I just realized that I've basically been going from canceled project to canceled project at my work.
You're looking at your
That
last year and you're like, fuck.
yeah, because
You're still an EA employee. That's what matters. Okay, you take that to the bank and you cash that check.
yeah, I am a survivor of canceled projects is becoming the through line of my career. But hopefully the current one will be the one. I don't know. We'll see. Which obviously I'm not gonna get into any details, but yeah, when I recorded, I just realized when I recorded this last year, I was working on um I probably couldn't even talk about it in any way, but it became known as the Respawn Star Wars FBS, and it got properly reported on when it got canceled and stuff like that, which is why I think I can say that. I don't think I can say any more
Because
details about it.
because IGN
Uh,
gave the scoop, right? Yeah.
yeah, there's been stuff out there. I would just say, maybe you don't necessarily believe what's out there or whatever. Like I'm not saying I'm not confirming or denying anything. But I can just tell you that it was a cool project. I was excited about it. Moderately excited because I've learned that it's a tough industry and you never know where things are gonna go. But yeah, and now I'm in another project that I'm excited about. I did have a very quick time frame that I spent on the Jedi team at Respawn, and I helped with a little bit of that.
I was gonna say you got a credit. You got credited. So there you go.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, patches.
Yeah, I worked on a patch for Jedi Survivor on the PC version, which has taken the Digital Foundry guys have gone from like this is horrible to this is just bad or something like that.
That
To
was like a left turn I was not expecting.
yeah, so
Um,
I guess I helped a little bit with that,
did you
but
help with the
yeah.
PS4 and Xbox One version? Like
No,
those?
I did not.
Aw.
I did not. I am not sure if I'm still pending checking that. I don't know if I could have ended up
In that
in the
credits?
credits for
Okay.
that somehow, but I just from being on the team, but probably not. Um, but yeah, still to be determined there. But I did not work on it. I did not work on that particular version of the game.
Aw.
Um, Specifically what I worked on actually, and I just realized this is the first time that I'm speaking in more detail about what I'm working on. Which
So
I think,
tread
or what
carefully.
I worked on.
Tread carefully.
Which I am trying to tread carefully, but at the same time, I think it's okay if it's something that it's out, right? I think that's the thing that you can
I
do.
did see your tweet where you tweeted the credits, right? You tweeted
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, which, that's really just an ego boost thing. It doesn't actually matter. Like, if you go and you're interviewing for a game company and you say, like, oh, yeah, I worked on Marvel's Avengers or whatever, like, nobody's going to go and actually, like, pull up the game and go into the credits and wait it out to see if you're actually in there. So it's technically you can just bullshit that you've worked on that. There is a general understanding that you're not going to do that because it's probably going to catch up to you in some way.
I mean,
But
honestly, like with so many canceled projects or whatever, or somebody like leaving the company before it ships, there's a people that will go uncredited anyway. So you can basically,
yeah,
there's no way to, you know, fact check
different
that.
companies, yeah, and different companies have different standards for that, by the way. Like some companies, they'll only include who's there at the end in the credits. Some companies will put everybody that worked on it. Some companies will have like a threshold, like if you worked on it for more than this many months or years or whatever, then you get included in the credits. Otherwise you don't, unless you were there at the end. So yeah,
Um,
there's not a clear standardization of it, I think.
yeah, but I'm sure EA
No.
has the best standards.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Um all right, so we're here to talk about the Game Awards. Let me ask you this, Lewis. What was 2024 like in gaming for you? I mean, you were let's say you had some extra level of free time for 10
Mhm.
months. Um, how did you feel about how'd you do with your gaming during that time frame?
Well, for the first like 7 to 8 months, I played only Fortnite exclusively. I got to tell you this.
Hmm.
Okay, now look, you just reminded me of a story I needed to tell to the podcast, just so I can shame myself publicly because I told you this privately already.
Okay.
I went and when because I was unemployed and I had time on my hands, I started off by like deleting or clearing out and foldering every 40,000 emails that I had in my inbox.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you know the story now. And so while I was clearing my emails and stuff like that, I started seeing a lot of Fortnite receipts, like receipt, and I'm like, holy shit. So after I finally finished I put everything in a receipt folder, and so basically they were all in one place. So after I finished clearing the emails, I then made an Excel spreadsheet of like every receipt from Fortnite I ever got. And right now I'm like at $5,700 in counting, like for how much I've spent on Fortnite since 2020. So for the first 3 years from 2017 to 2020, I never spent a dime because I was playing for free. And then once I started off with a 1,000 V-Bucks $10 transaction. And then once I just, what is it called? Once you peel that layer, like, there's a phrase for
Hmm.
that. Like, once there's no going back. And then I just started sinking further and further and
Yep.
further. Yeah.
You actually remind me that there was a South Park episode making fun of like microtransaction like mobile games where they make what's the name of the Canadian guy? It's like Philip and Terrence and
Terrence
Philip.
and Phillips.
They
Yeah.
have a Terrence and Philip mobile game that's full of microtransactions, and then I think Stan specifically gets addicted to it, and it's a whole thing. And I actually ended up watching that like recently for whatever reason. Um, and yeah, it's a thing. People can spend a lot of money on free to play games, which is why so many companies out there are chasing that. They're chasing that cow of the free to play game, but there can also only be so many.
Yeah.
There can only be so many successful
As a
ones,
matter of fact, I
right?
think there was like an article that came out earlier this year where it's like PS4 has this many, like 30 million active users or something like that. I don't know, whatever the number is. But then they did a percentage where it's like, but 54% of them are actually only playing old games like Fortnite and GTA 5. Like that's making up the majority of it. So like that old player base,
Hmm.
that old generation, the companies that of today are not really benefiting because so many players are just only playing old games that are like, still relevant
Hmm.
today. So that's actually kind of interesting. That's a whole can of worms. That's a whole rabbit hole. And we would be doing a topic of the show on like on a traditional podcast that we don't have time for that. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
um, but there was
But you did
something
end
else.
up
Oh, what's up? What's up?
playing other things other than Fortnite at some point,
Yes,
right?
yes. Just to finish out the Fortnite story, I did grind my other three accounts without spending a dime, and I got skins on those accounts. I had a Fortnite LAN party last month, and I squatted up with myself and then some, and it was really
Hmm.
awesome because we could have matching skins. So happily ever
Nice.
after. Now, as far as other games I played, friend of the show, Troy, RPM co-host Troy, he got me into Halo, and we started playing not competitive Halo because we kind of suck at. There's like ranked, and we kind of sucked at ranked. But when we played casuals, we just fucking mopped the lobby. We went like 3 hours undefeated once. It was pretty
Oh wow.
badass. Yeah. So I'm part of a squad. I think Joel, our musician, our composer, he's
Hmm.
part of the squad, and we basically like we keep talking about one day streaming it, but we haven't got around to doing that. But if we ever do, that'd be nice. I also platinumed Astrobot. Yay.
Nice. Game of the Year nominee.
Yes, I platinumed it, and I was 100% faster than everyone else in the world to get the platinum globally. Yeah, because Sony sent me an email with my stats or whatever saying that I was fastest or something.
Yeah,
Um,
which we clearly know that cannot possibly be true, right? Especially you didn't even play it day one.
Yeah, I know, but I took me what 6, 7 days to get the platinum from the day I started. It went from
Hmm.
the because I got an email from Sony every step of the way. I got an email with saying day one we're saying, "Hey, welcome to Astrobot," and then I got an email saying, "Hey, you rolled credits, good job, but there's more to do. Like get the platinum and all this other stuff." And then I got an email
Interesting.
saying from Sony saying you got the platinum, and then I got an email from Sony, "Hey, a new update just dropped on Astrobot with new courses. Go try them out." So like literally like
Hmm.
same with Nintendo. I played Mario Wonder because we were gonna do an OGAT for Mario Wonder that never happened, but we
That's right. I did play and finish it.
yeah, I played
Yeah,
it
as well.
and
So we could have done it.
I got a Nintendo email saying welcome to Mario Wonder and here's try these things out or whatever, that kind of stuff. So like basically all the companies are sending emails as soon as I play a game, they're like try it out. Oh, I 100% at Hellblade 1 because I wanted to play Hellblade
Oh,
2. So I never got around.
and did you?
I didn't play Hellblade
Okay.
2, but I did download it. That's what matters. uh,
Which, by the way, how wild is it that after years and years of anticipation, Hellblade 2 finally came out, and it feels like
a long time ago.
it. It almost feels like it didn't even come out.
Yeah,
Is like
it's.
how I felt about
I was
it's.
expecting it to be a Game of the Year nominee just off of the fact that it's such an anticipated
Mhm.
title, and it's not. I think it's only nominated for
Yeah.
like two categories.
Yeah, I would. I mean, maybe you could argue that it was kind of a snub. Like maybe it was not very well received. I don't know.
I don't think it was well received. I think it was kind of mid received.
Yeah,
So
and that's kind of the angle that I'm coming from on the podcast today, in the sense of like I have kind of disconnected from the industry. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird coming from somebody that literally works in it. But work is work, and it's kind of its own thing. I outside of work, I have barely played any games. I have barely watched any industry content. I barely know the games that are nominated to these game awards today. And that doesn't mean that I didn't play anything for the whole year. I did, I played some let me think. I played a little bit of that Prince of Persia game that came out early in the year. But I didn't get too far on it. I played a lot of Stardew Valley with Leah. We got our farm going, working on it together. I played Super Mario Galaxy again. So just kind of comfort food, like going back to something I like. Um, I think that I mentioned on the last podcast that I had been playing Dragon Age Inquisition, but I think I might have not finished it by then, and I finished it, and then I am now playing the newest Dragon Age, the Veilguard. EA Pride represent. Uh, so I'm playing that. I don't know if I should share too many thoughts on that because that might be weird conflict of interest situation. But I like it. It's interesting that it's actually very very different from Dragon Age Inquisition to me, and I was kind of expecting something that was more similar to that. But I'm having a good time with it so far. Um, Other than that, I don't know. I feel like I've played other things probably, but I can't really remember. I think I did a lot of like smaller things for not too long. And so yeah, I'm looking at this list here, and it's like Black Myth Wukong, like didn't play that at all. Balatro, I know it's like a big indie mobile poker game or something like that, and it's like there's always got to be like a smaller game at these things, and I think that's the smaller game of this time, and I hear it's really good, but there's a DLC nominated for Game of the Year. Elden Ring DLC is nominated for Game of the Year. That is the first time that has ever happened. What do you think about that? Should that even be allowed?
no, I don't think that should be allowed. Uh, I also don't think that like remakes or remasters or that well maybe remakes. I would say
Yeah.
remasters and re-releases and stuff like that. Like I don't know if that should also like that if that can't be nominated, then there's no point for DLCs. I think we have an ongoing games category, and and even if that was the case, and even if you wanted like make a DLC expansion category, that should be its own thing. They would have like Cyberpunk had an expansion like that kind of like whenever it's like story DLCs, like a major like Ghost of Tsushima.
Yote?
No,
Or yeah, yeah.
yeah, like whenever they have like a content pack, like here's another island with a little story for you there. Like
Right, right,
yeah, like
right.
those that should be a category in of itself because like games can get supported like that, and it's not like it's a whole new game. Like most DLCs, very few DLCs are standalone. You have to have a base game first so you get it. So yeah.
Hmm.
And it almost also kind of feels like a little bit of a slight because it almost reads to me like there was no other game this year that was good enough. Is how
And yeah, I feel like that's the thing too, is like just kind of watching it from the sidelines, and maybe maybe it's just like a jaded outside perception, but I got the impression that it was not a particularly great year for
yeah.
games.
Some people are
There's
saying that.
good Yeah, there's good games every year. It's just there's years that stand out and then years that kind of blur in the background. And I just got the feeling this was not one of the standout years. And I think you can notice that from like if you look back at 2018, there were two strong front runners for game of the year. It was Red Dead Redemption 2
And God
and
of
God of
War.
War. And both of those, like, they had this big pool like behind them, this big audience, this big fan base, and you knew that they both had a solid chance of winning. In the year prior, Breath of the Wild was like this big front runner, right? Even like last year with things like it was like Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man 2, like I don't even remember what else, but there was like a lot of like big games.
You have the dock in front
uh
of you. Like,
yeah, there we go. Like Baldur's Gate 3 was kind of the front runner, right? And stuff like that. And this year, I feel like it's so hard to call because to me, all these games are niche in some regard in comparison to those big tent poles that I'm talking about. Like, I don't see any game in this list that had the impact of Elden Ring or Baldur's Gate or or God of War or Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like, these are games that appeal to very specific audiences in my head.
and
Like,
if I may, I will say
mhm.
that it feels like there are two front runners for Game of the Year this year. Um, I will say that it's like the two that I think are it's Astrobot and Black Myth Wukong. Because the
Mm.
whole gaming industry loved those two games and were like they were not necessarily flash in the pans, but like the news cycle just sort of moved on kind of thing. But
Mhm.
like all of my news feed, it's like Astrobot, like what can Nintendo learn from PlayStation or this
Yeah.
like Astrobot, like Nintendo created accident or Sony accidentally created a mascot, like that kind of stuff. Like there were so many like videos and like what do you call it, like video essays I've seen about Astrobot, and then also with Black Myth Wukong, apparently 10 million people bought it on day one on Steam or something like that. It was like breaking
Wow.
records and stuff. So it definitely felt like those two games captured a zeitgeist for like the whole month, and it had like sucked all the oxygen out of the room from my perspective.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. I would say maybe you can make a case for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just because of the power of like Square Enix and just the Final Fantasy franchise as a whole. But if part one did not win Game of the Year, then I don't know like if part two would. But I also think the competition is not as hard this time. So I don't know. I feel like you could go either way between a few different options here. There's some that would surprise me more than others. But like I said, I personally I don't see a front runner off the notoriety that we had in previous years. Like Astrobot is probably the most mainstream of these games. Um, but that is a nostalgia bait game, right? Like that's not to undersell the game. Like I have not played it yet. I really want to. It seems really fun. But it is a very particular kind of thing. It's kind of like Smash Brothers in a way, right? Like Smash Brothers is like nostalgia bait for Nintendo fans. Like Astrobot is that for like PlayStation fans. We've never seen a Smash Brothers win Game of the Year,
Right.
right? Like is that enough to carry it to that Game of the Year status? When we haven't even seen a Mario platformer win Game of the Year in a long time either. It was like I think the last one would have probably been Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Mario Odyssey was nominated, but it also was nominated against Breath of the Wild. So
right.
yeah,
So it's like if Super Mario Odyssey, like Nintendo's flagship platformer, like one of the biggest video game brands in the world, did not win Game of the Year, like would Astrobot, like kind of the equivalent on Sony's side, like would that have the pull? Maybe, maybe not. I all I know is this: almost all of these nominees, and this is no judgment on the games because I haven't even played them. It's just from an industry reception standpoint, I feel like all of these games would not have won Game of the Year in the past like uh 5 years, right? Like take any one of those games and throw them in 2023 or 2022. Like, do you think any of them could have taken it from Baldur's Gate or from Elden Ring or from
oh hell no,
uh
not a chance.
yeah. If you look back in 2021, actually, it was It Takes Two, so maybe there you could have an argument. Uh, but yeah, it's an interesting year.
It's nice that we have a record of it, everything, by the way, with our running
Yeah,
our document that I made. So, um, but yeah, I don't really have much more to add to it. I wanted to ask you, did you want to do our predictions now for the winner, or did you want to do predictions for the show, or do you want to like start and end with this one last? Or how do we normally do it
I
last year? Do we start with this first?
I don't remember. I don't remember if we do it in order or not, but I have some suggestions.
Okay.
So I think we should I think we should end on the Game of the Year prediction, and then we can predict announcements. How about that?
Okay. Okay.
So then we can almost like we could do them in reverse order, but
Okay.
then we would also start with like some of the lame ones that we don't like.
How about let's like
Um
not do it in reverse order, but start with the second one first? Yeah.
okay, all right. So we got
Actually,
best
no,
game.
third one, third one. This one. This is basically synonymous with Game of the Year. They're the same
Okay,
nominees.
fair enough.
They're the same nominees.
All right. So for best narrative,
Here we go. Here we
we
go.
got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
Hmm.
You,
You want
who
to?
wants to,
I'll take.
do you want to do the
I
honors?
guess I'll go first. I actually, I'm gonna be making up my predictions as I go, and I don't know if I'm gonna be consistent because, like, if I had time to think
Mhm.
about it, I would start playing four-dimensional chess and start like figuring out, the totality. You know what I mean? Like, like
Yeah.
consistent winners because there tends to be sweeps. Like the early, my back in like 2020, 2019, we were doing these podcasts. I was trying to do where I was trying to even it out and share the
Mhm.
love, and that's apparently not Jeff Keighley's show. So I got to figure out what's it gonna be, and so I am going to try to game the system in the sense that I'm going to take out three nominees off the fact that they're not nominated for Game of the Year. So Like a Dragon, Hellblade, and Silent Hill 2 need to go. So
Mhm.
since they're not even Game of the Year nominees, they're not Best Narrative. Just off rip. Like just point blank period. I don't make the rules, but I do.
All right.
So I,
I
I
think that's fair.
okay. So that being said, with Metaphor, Refantasio, and Final Fantasy VII, I'm gonna go with name recognition. I'm gonna go with brand recognition. So FF7 Rebirth is gonna be best narrative.
All right. So Lewis is going for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Do you want to?
If you can do me the honors, just mark everything for me on the Excel spreadsheet since I have the OBS running over here.
Yeah, sounds good. No worries.
Okay, thank you.
I can handle that. I think your inclination of making it between FF7 and Metaphor is correct. If we look at 2023, the winner was Alan Wake 2, which was nominated for Game of the Year.
And one, yeah,
Previously,
yeah.
yeah, previously was God of War Ragnarok, which was also nominated. Um, so uh, let's see here. I think that I will say this. Okay, 2021 we had a different situation where Guardians of the Galaxy won Best Narrative, despite the fact that it was not nominated for Game of the Year.
Interesting. And nobody, I would say this is having like watched the IGNs and stuff like that. Nobody was talking about Hellblades' narrative and stuff like that. I feel like that game just came and went so fast, and so I
You would
don't.
have thought you
Yeah,
would have thought that was the strength of the biggest strength of the game, right?
yeah.
So like, yeah, I don't know what happened there really, but um,
I would say like if a non game of the year was gonna win, it would be Silent Hill 2, just because I feel like that had more positive coverage from what I saw. Uh,
all right.
not
I'm gonna
yeah.
tell you, I'm gonna tell you where my brain is going with this, okay? Because it's going in a slightly different direction. When I think best narrative, I'm thinking something original. I'm thinking something new. I am thinking like a new story should be rewarded with this kind of reward, as opposed to a retelling of an old story, which would be the case with Final Fantasy VII and with Silent Hill 2.
Damn
So applying that to the logic of the
metaphor.
Game of the Year nominees, I'm actually gonna bet on Metaphor. That way we have a different bet. Um, and that makes things interesting. And also, I don't know, it's an Atlas game, Persona developers. Persona has some pull with the Game Awards voting audience. So maybe that would get some notoriety here, despite the fact that I don't believe it will win in a lot of other categories.
Fair enough.
All right, so best art direction. We got Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor ReFantazio, and which Neva,
Hmm.
which I think is an indie game from the same developers of Gris, which I played.
I think it's
Uh,
also nominated for best indie game as well. So
it is definitely a very pretty game. I just don't know if it's common for indie games to take this category. I actually don't think they usually do, unfortunately. So I'm going to give this to Black Myth Wukong because I thought that game looked really good, and it did seem like it was one of the better looking games of the year.
I was going to go with Black Myth Wukong on that one as well because of the fact that like the graphics were like the big selling point for the game.
Yeah,
However, since you took it, I may just go with my other one so that way we're you know
sure.
I guess I want to try to
Up up to you. If
yeah.
you do that and you end up losing, you cannot use it
As
as
an
an
excuse,
excuse.
yeah, I know,
Just
I know,
yeah.
I know. I think I got by that last year, by the way, where I would have won had I gone my original, but at least once it happened to me once, at least once last year. I do know that for a fact. But I do feel comfortable enough to hedge my bets with Astrobot.
All right.
Okay, because here's the thing, Astrobot. I mean, I platinum the game. The game has very very beautiful like like images and like every frame's a painting kind of thing. Like, well, not a painting. Definitely, it's got some cool shit. All right, like it's got that Nintendo vibes, and anything that's got Nintendo vibes is automatically good art direction. So um, yeah, the art department did a really bang up job with that game. So I will give it to them just because you may not have like the prettiest graphics, most realistic graphics, but damn it, you got art direction. Damn. So that's what I got.
All right. I think it's a solid choice. Uh, Going to best score and music next, we got Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade.
Okay.
Lewis, I think I know which one you're gonna pick,
You know,
but I already know which one I'm gonna pick. But it's your turn to go first, so
I
go ahead.
I, I will say that I may be like biased because I did platinum Astrobot and it sucks, but at the same time, it's like I can't help it because having played Astrobot, let me tell you that that game's soundtrack is a bop. Like, I have the still to this day, I still can hear the songs earworming around in
Would
my
you
head.
say would you say it's an Astro Bop?
You motherfucker. Did you just think of that just now?
Yeah, and it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, so they've got two main theme songs and both of them were really good and they reused them in multiple stages, so I really do like it. The music is like legitimately like like a selling point for Astrobot for me. And I'm big on video game soundtracks and OSTs and stuff, so Astrobot for me is gonna hands down. Having not heard the other ones, hands down,
Yeah.
Astrobot's gonna win.
Sounds good. Sounds like a good choice. I'm gonna go a little different here. So we're staying different from each other in almost every category so far, or in every category so far. There's a franchise here that is notoriously historically famous for having excellent soundtracks, and that is Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's the next one. Yeah.
So while I don't know how good Rebirth's soundtrack is compared to other Final Fantasies, I just know that it's a flagship characteristic of the franchise to have great soundtracks. So I'm just gonna bet on it just based on that.
Fair enough.
Um, Now onto audio design. We got Astrobot once again, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
I think it's you, right?
Oh yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Ah, I feel so unsure about this because audio design is a weird one. Um, in the past, I would have gone with Call of Duty,
Yeah,
almost
that's
blindly.
that's my first go-to.
Yeah, in the section because first person shooters, AAA first person shooters usually have really good audio design. It's something that they really invest on. And I've been to even like specifically audio awards where they would just sweep. Um, I don't know though. The Game Awards is kind of weird though. You can
Give
kind of
me
never expect it in the Game Awards.
give me an Excel spreadsheet check on past winners, and
All right.
give me and just say yes or no if that winner was also the score winner.
Okay. So last year we had Hi-Fi Rush take audio design
Okay.
and Final Fantasy take score.
Ah, okay.
I had not seen that before, by the way. Uh, the year prior, God of War Ragnarok took both,
Nice. Okay.
even though we both bet on Call of Duty for audio design. In 2021, we had Forza Horizon 5 take audio design, and Near Replicant take score and music.
Okay.
And then it doesn't go
We
back
I
farther
don't
than
think we
that.
made a 2020 list. If we did, it got deleted or something. Yeah.
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 So,
Okay, so that's not a
uh,
good trend to look at. That's
no,
it's uh,
there's no standard,
okay.
basically.
Okay.
I I am just gonna go with my gut here, and I'm gonna bet on Hellblade 2.
Interesting. Okay, so
There
my
I have reasons.
go. You want to go for it? Do you want to say it?
I don't know if you remember this. You did mention that you just played it this year. There's a whole thing with the first
Oh,
game
3D audio and like
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
3D
yeah.
audio.
You're right.
I would assume they would have stepped that up for the second game. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. And yes, I did play the first
Yeah.
game and it did have the 3D audio. Okay, so my first gut reaction was to vote for Call of Duty off rip when I looked at the page.
Hmm.
I'm considering, and I haven't locked it in yet, but I'm considering going to Astrobot. Now, here's my rationale for Astrobot. Okay, first off, Jeff Keighley does sweeps, and I'd be hedging my bets a lot if I continue with the Astrobot train. But at the same time, having played Astrobot, the game goes out of its way to make sure that every footsteps on different surfaces sound different, like the sand crunches, the metal like
Right.
clinks, and also you can hear on your dual sense, like the speaker, you can hear like the footsteps closer to you as if it's you, and of course the dual sense feedback. You feel like each footstep in your hand like pulsating. That doesn't have to do with the audio, but the speaker does. So it's like the game
Mhm.
definitely goes out of its way to have like the most like cartoonish animated sound effects that go with everything, and everything just sort of hits like every like little like hammer thud, and just everything is, think of it like a cartoon, so it's like
Right.
the audio engineering had to be A1, and it was. So that's why I'm considering Astrobot, but at the same time, Call of Duty is, like a first person shooter, and it's known for its audio engineering. So I can't. I would like you to help me resolve it if you can.
I think I would continue with your sweep strategy and put it on Astrobot. The more Astrobot you pick, the more likely you are to like win categories if assuming Astrobot has a good night, you know.
Yeah.
Which I think I think it's a fair assumption.
All right, I will let you have that. I will go with Astrobot. Just
Now
simply off of the
I
fact
could I
you could
could
be
be trying to set you
sabotaging,
up.
you could be
Yeah,
sabotaging me, but I trust you. You're my friend.
yeah. Yeah,
uh,
Lewis, I would never sabotage you.
but I will say that just given that Call of Duty was barely nominated for the most part, like
Yeah.
I think that might be telling. That's not to say it's not impossible, right? Obviously, but I'll just I just know that I the game goes out of or Astrobot goes out of your way to like tingle your senses, visually, auditory, haptically, So
Mhm.
I will give it to them.
All right. Next category is best performance, and we got Brianna White, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hannah Tell, Life is Strange, Double Exposure, Humberly Gonzalez, Star Wars Outlaws, Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2, and Melina Huergens, Senua Saga Hellblade 2.
I think it
Uh,
was Jurgens is how they pronounced it at the Game Awards.
Jurgens,
I
that
think.
makes sense. Yeah, Melina Jurgens, Senua
Um,
Saga Hellblade 2.
it's kind of crazy because Melina Jurgens is not. She won for Hellblade One, I believe. You can go back
Mm.
and look at the records. That being said, I don't think she's gonna win, and just because she already won before, just off of that. And also, it's kind of just I watched when I beat Hellblade One earlier this year. I watched the making of documentary that you get when you unlock to a certain point. They actually put chapters of documentary, and apparently Melina Jurgens wasn't even an actress. She was just a developer in the game, and they just tapped on the shoulders
Mm.
like, "Hey, do the acting too," and then that's how she got the job. So that's kind of crazy how she just won. But that
Yeah.
being said, her ruling her out just off of the fact that she was a previous winner, I'm not really excited about any of these categories or any of these nominees. That's kind of crazy. Like, you would think I would have like one, like, oh yeah, that one. But, like, I don't, I don't think Star Wars Outlaws is winning anything just because the game wasn't really that well received. Don't know about her performance.
Hmm.
I don't know anything about Life is Strange Double Exposure. So that just leaves FF7 and Silent Hill 2. So I'm just gonna go with FF7. I think they may have a good night overall, so that's where my bet
Hmm.
is at.
Okay, I think that's a solid choice. I was looking at some previous years winners that we have on the sheet here, and we had Neo Bond from Baldur's Gate last year, and Christopher Judge the year prior, and then Maggie Robertson from Resident Evil Village the year prior than that. And so it's like it's interesting because in these 3 years, it was people that had some notoriety in the culture, like in gaming culture that year, right? Like
Yeah,
with
they were the
Resident Evil
meme. They
Village.
were the meme of the
Yeah,
year. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so like with this year, I don't know if maybe it's just because I've been kind of looking at it from the outside. Like I didn't really that if there was a meme person like that did not make it to me, um,
They didn't make it to
which
me
makes
either,
it
and I had my ears to the ground a
yeah,
little bit better than that. Yeah.
makes it hard to guess on this category. I am going to go the opposite of your logic, and I'm going to give it to the person that has won in the past, and I'm going to give it to Melina. And the
Okay.
reason is because I mean it's a story driven game. I assume there was maybe some impactful moments to her performance in the game. Um, More emotional game than some of these other options. Like, I mean, uh how much range is there really to the Silent Hill 2 character? You know, like I don't know. Like as far as I can tell, probably not much. Like you said, Star Wars Outlaws didn't seem like it was very well received. A Life is Strange maybe is a good candidate here. Those games are usually have like emotional performances. So I don't know. I think it could go either way. I'm just gonna go with somebody double dipping here. I don't know. Didn't Christopher Judge win it twice?
I don't know if he won in
Uh,
2018 or not. I really don't know.
no,
We'd have to go and look it up. Actually, I think.
no. I think it was the Arthur Morgan guy, um, from Red Dead.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Games for Impact. We got Closer the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Zal.
It's you first.
Um,
By the way, we haven't crossed
ah,
paths yet, right? We haven't crossed streams. Just
no,
okay. All
not
right.
yet, not
All right.
yet.
Okay. I'm
Um,
not gonna make it a rule. Just FYI.
I feel like a game that I would want to win is Tales of Kenzera, actually. But I'm gonna go with Neva.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Neva on this one. Just a wild guess based on things that I've seen.
Can you read to me the previous winners?
Yes. So we got Chia was last year, As Dusk Falls the year before, and Life is Strange True Colors in 2021. Another interesting thing, these have consistently been the most well-known game of the bunch. Because this is a category that usually includes games that are lesser known, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like last year, I think Chia was the one that we had seen the most in like state of plays and stuff like that. As Dusk Falls was another one that was like all over E3 that year. Um, Life is Strange is a known franchise. I don't know.
I will say this. Okay. Personally, like I don't remember Chia or any of the a lot of the
Uh-huh.
nominees like you read in game winners and stuff. I never even heard of. Like
Mhm.
proverbially speaking or whatever. Uh, so it feels like in my head, I want to just pick a game that just I never heard of, right? And just
Mhm.
wish for the best. Because like my knee jerk reaction is to go with either Hellblade or Life is Strange just off of name recognition. But the purpose of
Yeah.
this category isn't about that. It's about a
Yeah.
game with a message. So that being said, just going off of judging a book by its cover logic and going off of the art, my
Mhm.
eyes go to Indica.
All right.
So I will go with that and just hope that that it's message enough to win. But if either Life is Strange or Hellblade 2 win that night, I'm gonna be mad at myself for not going with my my like my knee jerk reaction of like notoriety equals win logic.
All right, makes sense. Now on to the category that is ongoing every year. Best ongoing game. We got Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. Now, previous years, this is always an interesting one to look at. Last year, we both bat on Final Fantasy 14, but Cyberpunk won. The previous year, Final Fantasy 14 won, and the previous year, Final Fantasy 14 won. So, out of
This is the
3 years
the
that
Final
we have
Fantasy
recorded,
this is the Final
yeah.
Fantasy 14 award.
But, Cyberpunk won over Final Fantasy last year, so I guess you never know. Um,
Most of these games were like Destiny 2 and Fortnite. They were also nominees. I think Diablo might have been a nominee last year. I think a majority of these games. You can double check me, but I think they were. That's like the same list. Like, what is the difference between these two pictures? They're the same picture.
all right, so Fortnite has been a nominee consistently.
Uh huh.
Has never won. It's probably not going to do it this time, right? Uh, Destiny 2 has been on and off on the list. And I don't see Diablo 4 before, actually.
Helldivers 2
When
just
did
came out
Diablo?
this year, so there's that. That explains
Yeah.
that one. Okay, I'm gonna just say this. I would be inclined to vote for Fortnite, and I think Fortnite might have won in 2020. By the way, the one that's not on their Excel
Mm,
spreadsheet. Just FYI. I could be wrong, but that being said, it's not Fortnite. Okay, not just because I am very well attuned to the Fortnite, you know, people like
community.
community. Yeah. The community is actually kind of 50-50. Like half the community thinks Fortnite had a great year and half the community thinks Fortnite had a shit year.
Mm.
So because it's polarizing, it's not winning. I can tell you that right
Okay.
now. You can take that to the bank because Lewis said so. So
All right, it's on record. So,
it's on record. That being said, I do want to call this the Final Fantasy 14 award. So I'm inclined to like pick it again. However, Just because Helldivers 2 was the hotness, and everyone talked about it when it came out, I'm gonna pick Helldivers 2.
All right, Lewis, I want you to watch the spreadsheet. Is the spreadsheet on the
All
screen?
right, let me put it on screen. Give me a second. Let me.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. What did you
Uh,
have on screen before? Yeah.
the not the Game Awards website with the pictures of the thumbnails.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, we're gonna have a little gender review party right now
okay.
for Helldivers 2, and the gender is
Purple.
purple. This is the first. This is the first of the first time we matched.
Okay.
Right? It's like a Tinder date or something. We finally matched here. Yeah, Helldivers 2. Honestly, just the impact that it had when it came out. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was playing it. It was, all over. Hard to escape it. I had people, bugging me like, "Hey Dan, you gotta get this game. You gotta play this game. Yada yada yada." I ended up getting it. I only played a little bit. Like I said, life. I didn't have a lot of time for video games this year, but I played a little bit. It was fun. It was cool. I think that this year will go different, where people will go like, they're gonna want to reward a newer game they were
Hmm.
excited to see in the category, like a new. I almost imagine like the Smash Brothers like announcement, like a new fighter approaches,
Yeah.
right? It's like, and maybe they're here to stay. We'll see. But I think people are excited about like a new game entering this um kind of live service
Yeah.
space, right?
I guess
So I
the
think
the Final Fantasy 14 award will go to Helldivers 2.
watch it go. If it goes to Final Fantasy 14, we're both gonna be so pissed. Um,
Well,
all
I
right,
wouldn't be.
best.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'll be pissed, but I won't be surprised.
Yeah, same. Best indie. We got Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. I
You're,
guess I
yeah.
start this
Yep.
time.
Yep.
To me, there are two strong front runners, one potentially ahead. The two front runners are Animal Well and Balatro. All right. I say this as somebody that is more or less a little tuned into the indie space. The weird, unusual, obscure indie games usually do not take the category. It's the very popular ones, right?
Uh-huh.
Animal Well is the game that was published by the YouTuber Video Game Donkey. He has like a publishing arm now that he runs, and he marketed the shit out of that game in his channel, and he has a big audience. A lot of people played it, and it seemed like a really good game. It got really good reviews. So I think Animal Well has a solid chance here. However, the game that is nominated for Game of the Year is Balatro. So I'm gonna bet on Balatro just on that alone.
That was going to be my rationale. Is that just because that's the indie game that's nominated for Game of the Year, that it's the best indie game by default. However, I wanna before I make it purple, I wanna double check for me, and I will consider changing my position.
Hmm.
Give me the last years. Did the token indie game for Game of the Year nominee win the indie category?
So last year, it's an NA answer because there was no indie game that was nominated for Game of the Year.
Okay.
It was Sea of Stars, the winner, though, but it was not nominated for Game of the Year. Previously, Stray was nominated for Game of the Year and it
And one.
won
Okay.
Best Indie.
Okay.
And then before that, we had Kena Bridge of Spirits win. That was not nominated
Damn.
for Game of the Year, but there was not. Let's see. Yeah,
Okay.
there
It's
was
and it's
no
an NA.
other
It's an NA.
options. Yes,
Okay.
that's NNA as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So just based on those 3 years,
I like how our predictions are easy. Are They became less wild guesses and more like methodical, like
yeah, observing
observing.
patterns.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like every year we do this prediction show, we have more data to look
Let me
at.
see. Let's try to
I,
dig a little bit
I,
farther.
well, okay, let's just make it purple because I'm convinced that it is Balatro. I would only be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Neva just because it was nominated for Games for Impact, or it was something else, right? It was nominated for something.
Yeah,
Yeah, Neva. I would say Dark
it is Games
Horse.
for Impact.
Games for Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would Dark Horse that one if otherwise
Hmm.
it's Balatro. It's totally Balatro.
Also, I'm gonna bring in just one more data point. In 2020, it was Hades, and that was nominated for Game of the Year.
Ah,
So
nice.
all right, let's so second purple here for Balatro. All right, moving on. Best mobile game. Lewis's favorite category. We got AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero.
Okay.
Um,
So,
you start.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
start.
start. All right.
So, I actually am a little bit torn on this one because Balatro is nominated for Game of the Year, right? And so logic says pick that one. However, friend of the show, Joel, our composer, is really addicted to Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, and I know a couple of other friends aside from Joel that are
Yeah.
hardcore playing it. So it does seem to me, just off of Observer, is that Pokemon has that mobile market cornered, and it's the hotness right now. And they're telling me
Uh,
to play Pokemon too, but I'm like, nah.
yeah.
So, uh,
Little data point. I was in Japan in November. Lewis knows this. I Nobody else does. But and mobile gaming is huge in Japan, right? People play it in the trains and stuff. And I think that the Pokemon Card Pocket game had just come out when I was there, and I did see people playing it on their phones quite often in the trains. And so I agree with you. I think it's between those two.
yeah, so I'm gonna hedge my bets on Pokemon because I do think that like just it feels like everyone's playing it. So I think it's the hotness. Um, Sucks that it's going up against Balatro, but I think it's got it.
Um, this is a tough one because I'm also torn in the same way, and I'm pretty sure the Pokemon game is a free to play game, right?
I think so.
And I was just looking at recently, and Balatro is actually a $10 mobile
Oh,
game, which is something that you see very rarely these days. Like I remember when Mario Run was
yeah, ten
released,
dollars
and
and yeah,
yeah, it took like $10 to unlock. I'm even gonna go double check it right now if I can. And people were very upset about that with Mario. People thought Nintendo was crazy. But yeah, Balatro is straight up a 9.99 in the App Store. The reason why I'm saying this is because I think that that price point will inevitably give it a smaller audience than a free to play Pokemon trading card game would. And so I'm going to guess that when voting on this, when they got to this category, there were more people voting that had played Pokemon than
then
people that had
play
played
Balatro.
Balatro. So on that, I am with you,
I will
and
say
we're
this.
now
I want
we're now
to.
in sync.
I will say this. So yeah, we're 3 for 3 at this point.
Yeah.
I will add to this, and I'm gonna just say this like as a side note. I just found this out, but Animal Crossing, the mobile app that Nintendo developed, apparently it turned 10 years old. I did not even know it was that old.
Wow, Pocket Camp.
Yeah, Pocket
Um,
Camp.
wow.
So
Wow.
apparently this is something that um, Nintendo stopped supporting Pocket Camp apparently earlier this year. I believe, and
Hmm.
they re-released Pocket Camp as another app that you can just buy for like I think $10 question mark. I could be wrong, but basically it's content complete and
Hmm.
there are no microtransactions. And so basically it rewarded for anyone that didn't play Pocket Camp all along because it turned Pocket Camp into a traditional Animal Crossing game that's fair and even to like a normal video game, like a
Ah.
3DS game to like grind the stuff. It's that pacing, not mobile game like pay to unlock shit pacing. Is my understanding. Now, I could be wrong, and that's what I heard. Is that
No, you're
apparently?
right. You're right. I just went to double check it. They call it Animal Crossing Pocket Camp C, and it is 9.99. Uh, yeah, it wasn't 10 years old though, but
Okay.
it was seven
Ah.
7 years of content packed into one.
Mm.
Uh, Interesting.
So basically, like if you never played Pocket Camp, you're getting the best version now. Now that it's over.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of cool.
that's I don't know how to feel about that because like on the one hand, great because you have a real Animal Crossing game, right?
Yeah.
Basically a 3DS game but on a pocket, right, mobile, right? But at the same time, it screws over the people that were there from day one for 7 years. They had a like microtransaction up.
Right, right.
So
Uh, I mean, you were there early, I guess. It's like the early adopter price, right? Like, yeah, it's just like when you invest in a game early on and then it becomes free to play later, or something like that, right?
yeah.
Um, all right. Best community support, also known as a Final Fantasy 14,
Award.
best Final Fantasy 14 support. We got Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. Bringing back previous winners, we had Baldur's Gate 3 last year. We had Final Fantasy 14 in 2022, and Final Fantasy 14 in 2021.
Can you give me a check last year? Were they congruent? Community support and ongoing?
Uh, no,
Okay.
because Baldur's Gate was not nominated for ongoing, and it
Okay.
got best community support. So, which by the way, Baldur's Gate is a nominee again. So, are they supporting their community? Are you guys supporting your community, Baldur's Gate
I
people?
I believe it's my turn. So I am gonna just, even though the last year's
Hold
paradigm
on,
didn't work. Oh,
it's not your turn
oh, it's
because
not.
you picked Pokemon before me.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. Okay. Good job. Good catch.
Yeah, but I know who you were going for. I know you were going
All
for
right.
with what you said. So,
Maybe or do
all
you?
right.
No, just kidding.
I'm gonna say this is weird, but I'm gonna say Baldur's Gate.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, no explanation. Just
Just
they
Baldur's.
won it. They won it last year. I'm gonna make a wild guess that it's changed. The flow of time has reversed and is now going in a different direction. It
Hmm.
wasn't a fluke.
Okay. I am pulling up the doc right now because I need to know about like how 2022 happened. I'm trying to look for best ongoing game category. I can't even find it. God damn.
It's
Uh,
under games for impact.
ah, there we go. Okay, I see it now. Okay, so last the year on 2022, Final Fantasy 14 swept both of them, so that what they were congruent. And in 2021, Final Fantasy 14 swept both of them. Good God. So other than last year, they were they were in congruency with each other, basically.
Hmm.
You know what? I'll stick with the congruency. I'll go with Helldivers 2. This is the one where like I'm like a little less sure of because I feel like they.
Helldivers 2 is not nominated.
Oh wait. Best community support.
Yeah.
I'm looking at best community support.
I see Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. I don't see Helldivers. Did you not put it in the spreadsheet?
Let's take a look at the spreadsheet because let's see here. Best community support Diablo 4. Oh, I'm looking at the actual website. It's got Baldur's Gate 3, FF14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. I must have
All
put
right.
Diablo by accident. Did I put last year's nominees at the same same spot?
What did you
No, I
do,
don't know.
Lewis?
I don't know why I put Diablo 4 in there, but I'm looking at the website. It says best community support is the category, right?
Yes.
Okay, best community support. Baldur's Gate 3, FF14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky.
All right. All right.
Did you
It's
correct it? Did you fix it?
yeah, it's fixed. It's
Okay.
fixed now.
Okay. I wonder what I put in its place. Did I put Diablo 4 for no reason?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay. But Helldivers 2 was in there?
It was not.
It was not. Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I just removed Diablo 4 and added Helldivers 2 to the spreadsheet. All right.
Okay.
So with that, all right, you were taking Helldivers 2. All
Yeah.
right.
And with that, since you didn't know Helldivers 2 was nominated, would you change it to Helldivers 2?
I possibly would, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to because I'm thinking here, and I think I remember there was an issue with Helldivers that people were upset about. um, with like the account requirement.
Oh yeah, the
Uh,
PC, PlayStation ID. Yeah.
so I'm like, that's gonna drag it down. So that's the point. That's what I'm taking here.
Okay, I will not be surprised if the Final Fantasy 14 award goes to Final Fantasy 14. That's
Yeah,
the only way. I'm still
same.
Helldivers on this one.
Uh, we got a lot of these to go through, so we actually might want to start speeding it up. Well, we are gonna get eventually to the. Are we doing the esports stuff? I
We don't have to. We can just gray them out
Okay.
if you want to.
Innovation and accessibility. We got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Prince of Persia the Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws.
I will just.
Uh,
Oh, I think it's my turn to believe, right? Yeah.
yes.
I'm just gonna keep it quick and simple. Just it's pretty self-explanatory. Call of Duty.
All right. So Call of Duty for Lewis for innovation and accessibility. I really don't know here, but I think Ubisoft is pretty good about accessibility. So is EA actually. So I think I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna stick with the boss, and I'm gonna give it to Dragon Age, and then
Not at
see how
all.
that goes.
Not at all biased at all.
Not at all
The
biased.
brought
Yes,
to you by EA award.
yes. Best VR/AR game. We got Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, and Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. And I actually feel pretty ballsy about this one, even though others may think it's out of left field. I think Asgard's Wrath 2 is gonna take this category.
Come on, Dan. We all know who the front runner is. It's Batman Arkham
Go ahead.
Shadow, obviously. Come on, man. If you're gonna look silly come next Thursday when Batman
We'll
wins.
see. We'll see about that. Asgard's Wrath is a very well rated game amongst VR fans. It was like it got like it's got a bunch of tens. I don't know about the second one, but the first one had a bunch of tens um on the reviews and stuff. So that's why I'm betting there.
I
Um
I've seen a lot of positive press coverage for Batman Arkham Shadow, and
okay.
my own nephew wanted me to get him an Oculus for Christmas just so he can play Batman. So
Oh wow.
yeah,
All
I'm
right.
not
Maybe
getting him
you're
that.
onto something
I'm
there.
not getting him that Oculus, by the way. I told him no, but that's just
Oh,
anecdotal.
you're such a mean, grumpy old uncle. Well, why are you such a Grinch, Lewis?
He's 21 years old. He's not a child anymore.
um, best action game. All right, we got into the different genres. All right, so best action game, we got Black Myth: Wukong, Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. And
It's your turn.
I just gave it to Asgard's Wrath 2 first
Oh yeah,
before
right. It
you
is my
did.
turn. It
So
is my
it
okay. This is my
so it
okay.
is
You're right.
yours. Yes.
Okay, okay. So best action game. I'll go with Black Myth Wukong on this one. I it is a bit of a toss up between that one and Helldivers in my book. But I do think that Black Myth is the only one nominated for Game of the Year in this category, so I'll go with that one on that logic.
It is, and I'm with you, and I'm picking the same thing. Black Myth will go on for best action game. Now on to best action adventure. We got Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which I just remembered you actually played.
I beat that game. Oh my god, how did I forget? Oh my god, that's crazy. I bought Astrobot and Zelda on the same day at Best Buy together.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I
Nice.
did 100%, and I can't believe how. Okay, that doesn't bode well for Game of the Year if I can remember it. I like the game, by the way, but I don't think I don't. I think it was a solid 7.5 to 8. By the way, like I
Mm,
liked the game and I beat the game in like 5 days and stuff like that. Um, I just I don't know. It just
yeah.
didn't stick with me, I guess.
Personally, I think this is Izzy, and I think this goes to Astrobot.
As much as I would love to like be like, no, I'm gonna play against you and vote Zelda, like Astrobot is like hands down like trounces over Zelda, which sucks because Zelda is Zelda.
Yeah.
So it's really not a contest. Like Astrobot is like a 10 out of 10 game. Like it got like
Hmm.
nines and tens across the board, and it's like I mean it's my personal game of the year. Like even though I only played like one new game this year. No, wait, three new games this year.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, that's something though. It's ahead of the other ones. For best role playing game, we got Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Refantasio. This is tough because you actually got 3 Game of the Year nominees here. And I'll let you start, Lewis.
So I'm not gonna vote for Elden Ring just because it's a DLC. It's like on principle. Even if it wins, what it's like, you know. Um, so for RPG, I'm gonna go with FF7 just because it's got name recognition and it's motherfucking Final Fantasy. There's just no way. Like, if we're not gonna, if a Game of the Year nominee is not gonna win, it'll probably be Dogma because you know I've heard a lot of positive things about it. So,
Hmm.
but otherwise, I do think that name recognition and will carry it for the most part.
Yeah, we're getting in sync and a little boring again, but I'm gonna give it to Final Fantasy VII as well. I think your logic is on point. I think it's the biggest game here. I mean, people love Yakuza, which is now this like a Dragon series. The Metaphor Refantasio game, I think, was very popular with RPG fans. Final Fantasy is just Final Fantasy. I think it's gonna take it.
I mean, honestly,
Um,
if Metaphor wins, that's gonna make us look dumb, but whatever.
yeah,
I could see it winning
we'll
too,
see.
but yeah.
Best fighting game is Lewis's category.
Hmm.
We got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Multiversus, and Tekken 8. And I think that this is an easy choice for Tekken 8.
Yeah, it's the easiest category in this entire like. There's just no way we're gonna lose. It's Tekken 8. And
Yeah.
I'll give you the better. I'll give you a more in depth because I have you know
Yeah.
I know things too about fighting games. I don't want to vote for Marvel vs. Capcom because it's a port of re-release of like the old Marvel vs. Capcom games. I don't. I think it's a really good port. It's got like cool special features like you know training modes that did never existed and like um, galleries and artwork that and behind the scenes documents that you've never seen before, never seen the public eye. It's got cool stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it's ultimately a port of a game that existed back in the '90s or late early 2000s. Um, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is actually a really good one player game, but when you it's not a competitive fighter, it's not very well balanced. There was a controversy or like about a week ago where like a tournament happened and the two players were playing for 10 minutes not fighting each other and just stalling and stuff like that. So it was
Mm,
really bad. It was a bad look,
that sucks.
and the commentators gave up commentating after like the first 30 seconds. They just stopped trying. So it's not a competitive game, and I don't think it was actually intended to be a competitive game. um, they just yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of sucks for that. So that just leaves really like Multiversus, Grand Blue, and Tekken. But Tekken really took all the oxygen in the room, and it's really like the big fighting game. It's like it would only be exciting had like Tekken 8 came out last year, so that way it would have been up against Mortal Kombat 1 and Street Fighter 6 because they were all new games. And I think I made a prediction around episode 150 or 149 where it's like, "Yo, it's a possibility all
Yeah.
three games can come out in the same calendar year, and that's gonna be dope." And then you know, this one
I
just
remember,
barely missed the mark.
especially because we kept having so many years where that wasn't happening, and so many years where the winner for this category would not even be a new game,
Yeah,
because there was no new fighting game, or like of the big ones.
yeah.
So yeah, I remember that. But yeah, I think it's kind of a no contest on this one this year. Even me as a layman, I'm like, yeah, that was the game that the fighting game this year that people actually cared for. So, um, best family game, usually known as the best Nintendo game category, but not this time. We got Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, which I actually want to get that one. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, and the Plucky Squire. Lewis.
Okay, so when I think of family games, I'm thinking about like the whole family coming together and sitting in front of a TV, like, playing together. So I rules out pretty much all four out of five because Astrobot, Princess Peach, Legend of Zelda, and the Plucky Squire, I believe the Plucky Squire falls into it, I could be wrong, are all one-player games. So if you're going to gather the family around to play the game, they're going to be watching you play. They're going to be watching someone play. So I think just by definition, like it kind of skews against single player games. That's not to say we can't look at the records and see if like a single player game won. So in my head, I'm thinking that even though Astrobot is a better game per se, for like the category of family game, Super Mario Jamboree is like the winner.
All right, are you sticking to that?
Yep, Super Mario
All right,
Mario Party
so
Jamboree. Let's get it.
uh, I actually am gonna give it to Astrobot because I think the better game's gonna win, and I don't think it matters. Your logic makes sense. I don't think it matters. If you look at the last few years, we did have multiplayer games win. So like Super Mario Wonder, you can play multiplayer. The Kirby game has won. Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
That's a single player game.
I don't know. I didn't know if that was single player or not. It Takes Two, won in 2021. That's two player. Um, I almost feel like it kind of doesn't matter. I think it's just like whichever game is generally agreed upon to be the best one wins. So I think I'm just gonna give it to Astrobot.
If Astrobot wins, I wouldn't be mad. Uh, like PlayStation One, Nintendo's category, so that's gonna suck. It kind of stings, especially because Nintendo has three nominees. Like the Nintendo award goes to Sony, which
Dude,
to be
we should have
oh, what's up?
we should have probably talked about this, by the way, that this was like kind of like a low year for Nintendo, but also where's the Switch 2? Like we're all waiting for it. We're like
Yeah,
they're clearly gearing up for it, right? But like uh all the rumors and the leaks and stuff like that turned out not to be true because we still haven't heard from it, right? So
we
is the
just before March 31st, we'll know about it. We just know that it's backwards compatible. They confirmed that.
Mhm.
But as far as like if Astrobot does win this category, this would be like the like what is it called? The final nail in
Nail.
the coffin where it's like
Yeah.
everyone all the commentators are saying that Sony out Nintendo. This would be the proving ground if that were if that were that statement
Yeah.
were true. Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's fair. Best sim/strategy game. We got Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord.
Is it
Damn.
mine? Is it my turn or your turn? I forgot. That's my turn, right?
You
Yeah.
No, you just picked Mario
So
Party
it's
before me.
oh, so yeah. So it's my turn. Because I went
Nope,
second
no.
last. I went second last, right? Or I picked. I went. Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, it's right. Your turn. It's your turn. Sorry, go, 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 go. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. I went
Um,
first. I went first last
maybe
time.
maybe we should mark these somehow.
It's whatever.
We're struggling with this more this time than in previous times, I think.
Yeah.
I do not know most of these games. I'm gonna give it to Asia Mythology, but I think Asia Mythology might be like a remaster, so
Retold
maybe
because
that
it says
works against
retold.
it. Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what's kind of funny
So
is you were always like the point man. Like I was the point man for fighting game category. You were always the point game man for the sim/strategy. I was always relying on you to know the stuff.
so I have heard of Unicorn Overlord. I kind of want to almost like do a Metacritic check here. Is that cheating?
You know what? Be my guest. Be my guest. I'm gonna say this. Like, I haven't like locked my thing in, but just off of the fact that Atlas is the publisher for Unicorn Overlord, I'm inclined to give it to Atlas. But also that's not to give you know, not to give any slight to Capcom because they have Capcom is on here too.
Mm.
But that being said, like I'm just thinking like the like sim strategy, this kind of like almost kind of like runs in conjunction with RPGs. So like since Atlas is known for their RPGs, they're pretty much a shoe in for this category just off of the studio, not so much the name of the IP or the game itself.
So all these games have an over 80 Metacritic,
Oh
but
shit.
the best one is Unicorn Overlord with an 86.
Well, that's not much of a margin.
Um, but yeah, I said they're all over 80. It was like 86, 85, 83. So Um, I'm gonna pick Unicorn Overlord.
All right, we're boring. I'm picking that one too. Mostly because of the Atlas, not so much for the Metacritic.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up we got best sports slash racing game, and we have F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Top Spin 2K25, and WWE 2K24.
All right, now that's my
Uh,
turn. um, I'm gonna give it to NBA 2K25 just because I feel like it's the biggest IP out of the five. I don't necessarily know anything about the quality. I know that racing games like Forza have won in the past, but I don't think F124 is of that caliber. So I just think like a wrestling game or a tennis game and a well EA Sports FC 25, is that soccer? Is that FIFA?
yeah, that is it no longer uses the FIFA license.
Okay.
But it's that, yeah.
Okay. I might have to reconsider. Just because they lost the FIFA license and like name recognition is not on their side, I'm gonna give it to NBA 2K25.
All right. I'm gonna give it to EA Sports FC. EA Sports.
It's in the
It's in
game.
the game.
All
Which,
right.
by the way, I grew up not knowing at all what that said. By the way, it was like EA Sports, and then it's just blurry words to me for the longest amount of
Because you
time.
didn't know English, or
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Like people would mimic, and they would just go like EA Sports or like something. Like people didn't actually know what it said. It wasn't just me.
okay,
Um,
fair enough.
Best multiplayer, we got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. And I guess it's my turn, and I'm gonna give it to. Oh, damn, this is hard. I'm gonna give it to Helldivers.
All right. I am going to be old school, and this is probably going to cost me a point, but I am all about local multiplayer. So, Super Mario Party Jamboree is. I'm going to hedge my bets on that one. I feel like this one's like a longer shot. I feel like I had a better chance on the first time around, but if it's not Mario Jamboree, then it will probably be Tekken 8 because it's also local
Yeah.
multiplayer. So, I don't want to. I mean, we could check the records, but I don't like online multiplayer as the
Mhm.
winner personally.
Um, yeah, I would err on the side on no more record checking right now. So
Yeah.
just trying to get through these and get to the main ones.
Okay.
We got five more. Content Creator of the Year, Casio Ilohuan Tejo Gamers or Techo Gamers, Typical Gamer, and Usada Picora. I do not know a single one of these people,
I
like at
do.
all.
I know one of them.
Okay.
It's my turn to go first. Or your turn to go first.
You picked Mario Party after me
So
right
that's my
now,
turn. So it's
so
my
yeah,
turn.
it's your turn. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go with the only person who I know, and that's Typical Gamer. I actually started watching his content like naturally. He got recommended to me in my home feed earlier this year. He's a Fortnite streamer and a Fortnite YouTuber.
Mm.
And so all his content is all Fortnite. Fortnite, it's all like, look at me do this stunt or whatever. Let me do this challenge and that kind of stuff. And he's very entertaining to watch. Like I don't watch his streams. I only watch his YouTube videos and they're already edited like in 30-minute packages. And he's just like, his personality's on. He actually live streamed with Snoop Dogg earlier last month. Like he did the ninja thing where Ninja
Wow.
streamed with Drake, and he did his version of that with when he streamed with Snoop Dogg. So
Wow.
yeah, he's big. He's got like 10. He's closing in on 10 million subscribers on YouTube. So I'm gonna give it to Typical Gamer just off of the fact that I know he's got a big audience and I watch his content.
So I don't know him, but I'm gonna go off of what you're saying and trust you, and so I'm just gonna copy your vote, and I'm glad you went first.
You
Um,
bitch.
yeah, just completely shamelessly.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I think last year I knew who the content creator was last year. Well, I'm not going to fact check it, but I'm pretty sure if my memory serves, I knew who it was. I voted for them, and it wasn't them that won.
Hmm.
So that doesn't just because I
Uh,
know who one person is doesn't mean that I know that they're. I mean, maybe they all got 10 million or plus subscribers.
Listen, Lewis, when you're going off of no information, any information is something. You know. Uh, best debut indie. We have Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lord, Specific Drive, or The Plucky Squire. Um, and I'm just gonna go consistent here. I've been giving a lot of things to this game, and I think it's gonna continue the trend here. Balatro is who I'm betting on.
You know what? I am going to go against you. I was going to go with Balatro. Had I gone first, I would have gone with Balatro. But because we've been having too much purple on this dock, and we need to like separate the score a little, I'm willing to go out on a limb and go with the Plucky Squire on this one. Not just because like I'm just throwing a Hail Mary. I'm not even trying to logic this. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna go. If I get that win, that's that point right there. That's what I'm going for. I'm willing to like go out on a limb here. I mean, Mana Lords would have been pretty cool, like, but because it's Atlas and all. But I feel like the Plucky Squire. I've seen them nominated somewhere other places. Maybe this one might get some love.
All right, sounds good. I think that's valid. There's part of me that kind of wanted to go Animal Well here, but fuck it. I think Balatro is gonna sweep on the indie side. Um, most anticipated game. We got Death Stranding 2, On the Beach, Ghost of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds.
Ha! I get to go first.
Lewis.
Everyone knows that this is one of the easier ones to predict, and it's pretty obvious. It's GTA, so
Yeah,
not even
I
close.
I think so too. Um, I think maybe Metroid Prime 4 just because of all the years of anticipation, but I feel like GTA is in another level.
Yeah,
Like us Nintendo fans like to celebrate Metroid and stuff, but come on, GTA is like the biggest entertainment property of all time.
yeah.
So, best esports game. We got Counter Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and Valorant. And I'm just gonna give it to Valorant.
I think
Lewis?
we've. I think this is the exact same list as last year, minus Mobile Legends Bang Bang. And like years before that, I think this has like been a consistent like category,
Yeah.
right, every year. So really, there's no need to fact check. I can't remember who won last year, and I know Counter Strike and Valorant have both won in the past, I believe. So, well,
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. In the
okay.
last 3 years, because I just checked real quick, it's been Valorant and LOL.
Oh, League of Legends. Okay, okay. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll go League of Legends on this one because fuck you.
All right. I mean, they're both Riot, so they would be happy regardless. And finally, here before we go back to the top two categories, we got Best Adaptation, a newer-ish category, with Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft.
And
And
it's my turn first, right?
yeah,
Fuck. Okay. Well, there are two. It's a two-horse race on this one. Arcane has really a big deal on Netflix right now and burning up the charts. But earlier this year, and I don't know if recency bias will help Arcane, but earlier this year, Fallout was the biggest thing like ever. Like everyone was talking
yeah,
about it. So it had this big cultural zeitgeist moment, and I do feel like Fallout is gonna win just because it was the better adaptation that people loved and people were recommending in the water cooler talk and people were talking about it and recommending it to me. The people don't even play the games and it actually helped make Fallout game sales go up or whatever for a while.
hmm
So I feel like it's Fallout, but I don't know if because it came out in May of this past year, if that's gonna hurt it. So I'm gonna go with Fallout just on that. On I feel like it still has that momentum. I wouldn't be surprised if Arcane took it though.
yeah. I agree that it's a two-horse race here. I am also gonna give it to Fallout. I think Arcane is big, but I think Fallout was bigger. Um, or at least from my perception. I don't know if people that are not League of Legends players are were watching Arcane, but I know that people that were not Fallout players were watching Fallout, myself included. So, um, and now we got Game of the Year and Best Game Direction, and these have the same nominees for both.
Yep.
So Maybe we could even do them together.
Yeah, I think if they're together.
Um,
Now, I just want to caveat that the Oscars does this thing. I think I've said this on previous prediction episodes where the Oscars has best director, or best direction, and then they also have movie of the year, best movie, and they generally tend to be in congruency with each other. Almost every year, you win best director, you win best picture.
mhm,
The only times they ever do that, they'll split the vote is if there's two front runners that are equally, like, people want both to win best picture.
mhm.
So that being said, I don't really care to check the fact checks on the previous records, but I know for a fact that on 2020 The Last of Us 2, swept, and it swept both of these categories. Uh, so that being said, whatever the game of the year is going to be best art, best direction. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
just point blank period. I don't know if you want to split your vote, but I'm not splitting. I'm not planning on splitting my vote.
So I believe that the same game might win both. I agree with you, but
You want to split your
there's
vote to hedge your bets for points?
yeah, there's part of me that's debating on doing that. But then I also like I can't even tell you like confidently. I know that we had some guesses earlier, but I confidently cannot tell you who the two runners are here. I know that you picked two. I think like you said Astrobot and Wukong. I think that's fair, but I don't even know if I necessarily feel confident about that. Um all right. So this is what I'm going to do.
How about we say it on the count of three? 1, 2, 3, and then we just blurt out our answers.
All right, all right. So
Now, do you want to do by category, or do you want to do like just say both of them? How are you gonna do it? Like, how about
I'm going to
let's do game of the year. Let's do game of the year. All right.
all right, all right. Game of the year.
All right.
One, two, three.
Black
Astrobot.
Myth, Wukong.
All right, all right. So Lewis is giving Game of the Year to Black Myth Wukong, and I'm doing it to Astrobot. Cool, cool. I don't think we're usually split on Game of the Year, by the way. Um, yeah, no, we voted together last time. We voted together the previous time. We voted together the one before it. Yeah,
So
we
either
voted
we win together,
for
or
the
we
game.
lose together when it comes to game of the
Yep.
year.
Uh, this time it's different. It looks like.
Okay.
Um.
By the way, that's my for our direction, or whatever that category is it's Black Myth for me as well. Just FYI.
Oh, did I? For
Was it
game direction.
Is it what's the second one? What's the second category?
Game
Yeah, game
direction.
direction. Yeah. Game direction. Yeah, that's the one. I'm going Black Myth all the way on that. I'm not hedging my bets. If I'm gonna lose on one, I'm losing on both.
All right. All
I
right.
don't. You can go with me and make it purple if you want to hedge your bets. Or you can stick with Astrobot or go with someone else. I don't care. It's yours. But I am a firm believer that they're going to be consistent, and I'm hedging both. But I'm taking both points to that bet.
All right. You know what? I'm gonna give both to Astrobot.
You don't need me to bully you. I wasn't trying
Yeah.
to.
No, 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 no. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do because I feel like I don't know. I just feel it in my gut. Just feeling in my gut, and I do think whichever game wins one will win the other. And I'm doing the equivalent of like a double bet, just like you. Double bet, win it or lose it. This is probably gonna decide or prediction results. I feel like. Um,
Last year we had 9 categories the same. This year we only had 8. So we're pretty much inconsistent with each other for like how many times we overlap. So that's actually not that bad.
mhm.
So
Cool, good stuff. Good stuff. So that will be it for our predictions here, and then we'll be reconvening after the Game Awards to talk about what got announced, as well as who wins the prediction game. Is this what like the fifth time that we're doing this? I guess. We have 4 in the spreadsheet, but I feel like there was one. We
yeah,
did one in 2020 that
yeah,
we just didn't track.
yeah. We did one in 2020, but
No.
we used notepads and stuff. Or at least I did. I didn't make an Excel spreadsheet, so we never we have the predictions episode on our feed as well as the winners and stuff, but it's not like we're none of us going to go back and listen to it and type it up. So, but I do
Yeah.
remember winning 2020, by the way. I just
All right.
I remember that because early on we
Mm,
would play prediction games and I would always win.
that's true.
Yeah, but I think you won
Uh,
last year. You won last year, and I won 2022 and 2021 and 20. Damn, I was on a three streak. You
well, you're
broke the
you're you're
streak
three to
last year.
one. You're three
Yeah,
to
you're
one.
3-1.
So
Yeah,
we
so
can start closing the gap here soon.
yeah.
All right, let's talk announcements. And I am in a little bit of a time constraint tonight, so that's why I was kind of trying to speed us up a little bit more there.
That's fine because I
Um,
only have two predictions. 'Cause-
all right, so I have a feel. I'm trying to think of how we should do this. Let's not treat it like an actual game. Let's
yeah,
just talk about it,
let's just talk
right?
about it.
Let's
Okay.
just talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So give me something, Lewis.
All right. There's gonna be a new Metroid Prime 4 trailer. All right, that
Oh,
comes
okay.
out. All right, now here's the thing: Nintendo's gonna, give us the, the trailer, the gameplay, and everything like that, and then at the end, we're gonna get not just a year like 2025. We're gonna get like holiday 2025 or spring 2025. We're gonna get a
Mm,
release season window, fall,
damn.
summer. Like it's gonna be. We're gonna close in on when we can expect it.
Okay. That's a solid, exciting prediction. Counter argument is Nintendo hasn't been too present in the Game Awards recently.
Not recently, you're right.
Or
Yeah.
yeah,
Just because
or
Nintendo hasn't had anything to show is how they play it off.
yeah. I almost feel like Nintendo at this point, like they've been so quiet, and I feel like they're just saving everything to have just an out of this world direct. Like it's how I look at it. Like I feel like it comes across to me like they're keeping a lot of things close to their chest. I think we're gonna get a direct like early next year or something, and it's just gonna be the best direct to ever direct.
So you're thinking
Quote
like
you, Lewis.
you're thinking about
Yeah.
January, like comes January, we're gonna get like the stage presence announcement of the new Switch 2 and a whole lineup of games, just like
Yeah,
basically what they did
yeah,
with the Switch 1, basically where they're like,
yeah,
here's a blowout.
yeah, totally. That's what I'm expecting. It's like yeah, I don't even know, like new Mario, new Donkey Kong, like Metroid Prime, finally, like projects that you've even forgotten about that ever existed. Here they are again. There's a new Pikmin for no reason. Like, I just think it's just gonna be crazy. Um, that's my guess. But let's see for the Game Awards. I did have a bunch of predictions written, but they were like almost like overly safe. So I'm gonna try to keep this more interesting. I think we're gonna see Perfect Dark, and that's the Perfect Dark game that's been like in kind of tortuous development. It seems like being developed by the Initiative. Like Crystal Dynamics was helping out with it. They've recently, kind of recently, revealed some more details about it. I think, but that game, I think, has a strong connection with the Game Awards. I think Microsoft likes to show stuff at the Game Awards. They've done it with Hellblade multiple times. I think they'll be there this time with Perfect Dark, and I think this will be the final, um, almost like the final big drop for Perfect Dark, leading up to its release window next year. So I think that we're gonna get a big trailer. I think we're gonna get a release date. Uh, yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. Microsoft, they haven't quite been hitting it out of the park. But I think that we're finally gonna get the proper blowout for that game.
Okay. My
Yeah.
my prediction is that Kojima will be back up on the stage again to either A, re-reveal that Jordan Peele game that they talked about and stuff, like that one they were just on the
Yeah.
stage just talking about nothing. They're gonna re-reveal that game, or they're gonna show a trailer for Death Stranding 2. One of those two things will happen with Kojima,
Right.
or maybe both A and B.
I honestly probably both. Kojima has been a safe bet at the Game Awards. He's usually there. He's usually showing something. We know Death Stranding 2 is on the way. We know he's working on other projects. I think it's a safe bet that he's going to be there showing some stuff. So good one on that. And since you only have two, I'm gonna just do two as well.
That was my third one. I just made that one up.
Oh, okay, okay,
I think I
all
got
right, all
four.
right.
I'm
Good
cooking
stuff.
up a
Good
fourth
stuff.
one
All
right
right.
now.
Oh man. All right. See now, you threw me off. You threw me off my groove. Okay, because I had boring predictions and then I had more
Oh, my
interesting
next one
ones.
is boring. My next one's boring. Don't worry about it.
All right. So, looking back at stuff that got announced at the previous Game Awards, something that I completely forgot about is that Sean Marty and Hello Games announced their next project. It's a game called Light No Fire. So I think we're gonna see that again, and I think we're gonna go. They're gonna super incredibly exaggerate what the game is, and so they're gonna talk about it's like they're gonna be the next best thing ever to have existed. And they'll announce a release date for it, and they would not hit it. So
Wow, you just
that's fine.
really had a help. Just stick it right there.
Yep, yep, it is what it is. All right, Lewis, give me your next one.
All right, my next two are very boring, so don't even really just set the bar
Okay.
low. Okay, they're practically this next one is practically guaranteed to happen. If we were tracking this, I'm guaranteed half a point. All right,
All right.
all right. We will get either a new Fortnite trailer or just a regular promotion commercial for Fortnite. Just play
Oh,
Fortnite now,
shut up.
like a 30-second, like hey. But in
Yeah.
okay, at worst case, we're gonna get a Fortnite ad. But in best case scenario, we're gonna get a new Fortnite trailer where that's gonna debut the new Christmas limited time event, the new what is it called, Winterfest skins, something like basically like the Christmas update trailer because we haven't had it. We don't know what the Christmas event is right now unless they manage to drop it or it gets leaked the day before the Game Awards. That would suck. But yeah, they're gonna announce the Fortnite Christmas something.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, pretty solid. Pretty solid prediction. Yeah, I think it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. Um I think we're gonna see Civilization 7. We saw that earlier this year. Like I said, not super fun prediction because it's like not a new, unexpected announcement. But it's in the works. I think it's supposed to come out next year. So I think they're gonna show up at the Game Awards and try to draw up some hype for it.
All right, my last prediction, and this is another boring one. Joseph Ferris will be given screen time of some sort, whether it be in the pre-show, or like, like he'll be given the mic live, not like in a pre-taped video. Like, hey, I'm so happy to be a part of the Game Awards community or whatever. No, he's gonna be on stage. He will be given screen
Dude,
time, and maybe he will show us a new trailer for his new game. But I don't. I'm not. I'm
I
not. Even if he has nothing to show, he's just gonna be. They're just gonna talk to him.
no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been some time since
It
It
takes
Takes
two.
Two, so I think it's totally reasonable that we could see that, and so I'm hoping for that now.
like
100%.
I just think that like Jeff Keighley likes his personality enough just to give him the mic for like a 30 seconds to a minute. So even if he has
Hmm.
nothing to show, they'll just make him a presence in my head.
Yeah.
That's just me personally. That's what I would do.
I my final prediction is that uh we are going to see a franchise that's been somewhat dormant, but it's not that dormant, but it's been gone for a little bit. It's going to have a comeback. One of the big female characters in the games industry is going to get the spotlight once again, and that is Lara Croft.
Ooh.
I think we're going to get a review for a new Tomb Raider game. I don't know who's developing it. I kind of lost track of who has the rights at this point because it was kind of a weird like.
I think Crystal
Wait,
Dynamics owns that right. It's not Square anymore. I think
yeah,
Chris.
because Square and Crystal I think kind of parted ways,
But
and
wait, I
so
think Crystal
but
Dynamics got bought out by. Didn't they get bought out by like Embracer or not Embracer? The that one company
uh,
that like buys all the
it might have been
companies.
it might have been Embracer. I might have been Embracer. It was like oh, what is it called? Like THQ Nordic was
Yeah, that
part.
one. Yeah, I think
But I
they.
think I think they're part of the same conglomerate.
Okay.
So I mean, they got bought, and if they own the IP, which I assume they do, somebody's gotta, right? Like somebody's got to be thinking about like bringing back Tomb Raider. There was like some kind of show or something recently that was nominated for the best adaptation. Um, I think there's something in the works. There's been leaks in the past of things that were in the works. So I think we're finally gonna see that game. We're finally gonna see what that game is. And I'm gonna be excited for it because I like that series. And yeah, that's it. That's it for our predictions for the Game Awards. Lewis, do you have any closing thoughts? Are you excited?
No, not really. There's two things that I there's two things that are at play here. Number one, the Game Awards are basically like they're not about the awards; they're about the ads. That's the first thing, and so I'm always tempering my expectations low, but also at the same time, like this is definitely one of those years where I feel not just in like the game predictions, but like I just in the winners, like I feel the least hot, sizzling, like burning desire like for these predictions. So, yeah.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I feel like for me, it's just like getting older and like
We're getting old. We're old.
yeah, getting older and just kind of feeling slightly less excited about things, but at the same time, like um I don't know. I like the idea of making some popcorn and just sitting on the couch and just watching Jeff Keighley entertain me for 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, please tell me
Uh,
you're gonna have a watch party where you print out my Excel spreadsheet.
I did that last year. I'm
and you're
surprised
gonna
you remembered
and
it.
then you're gonna play the prediction games again with
I
your
feel like this time, I'll keep it to a small thing. Maybe I'll just do it with Leah. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll invite people over again. I don't
well,
know.
you also said
I got mixed feelings about that.
you don't like people like not shutting the hell up during the Game Awards. So you did tell me that.
Don't put me on the spot, Lewis. Yeah. I might want a more quiet, cozy experience this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I'm particular about the way I watch things.
Hmm.
I have issues when people talk over shit too much. You know, people who have like they'll have like a movie on the TV and they're just like, talking to somebody else next to it. They're like talking about their day or whatever and like, "Oh, how are you doing?" and yada yada like that kind of situation,
Yeah.
like you're on the couch with like your parents or something, and then like your brother walks in and they're just talking and like totally ignore the fact that there's a movie on the TV. I cannot do that. I cannot, like, no. It's movie watching time is movie watching time. It is sacred,
Yes.
not to be interrupted. It's different if you have some, I don't know, like trash reality show on or something. But
Yeah.
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 Um,
What's it called? But on the bright, I would say not on the bright side, on the ironic side, like the Jeff Keighley goes out of his way to, put the Game Awards together, organize it, and stuff like that, to quote unquote celebrate the industry. But it feels like the industry, from my perspective, isn't really worth celebrating right now. I don't. That's a fucking shitty thing to say, but it is what it is. Like I don't think the
yeah.
nomination lot is really that strong. Even with Astrobot being a 10 out of 10 on my book, it's just, you know what I mean. It doesn't feel exciting.
I mean, it's been a tough couple of years for the industry in a lot of ways, and
And also, Jeff
I
Keighley
just
doesn't go out of his way to like talk shit about the industry. Like he doesn't talk.
yeah,
People like are calling him out. It's like you're not talking about all the mass layoffs that happened this year or whatever. Like
yeah.
it's like deaf ears to all that stuff.
Which I have mixed feelings about that too, because I'm like, I don't know. It's not supposed to be the point of the night, so I get that you wouldn't, but in some cases maybe you should acknowledge it. It's how do you do it? Like how do you do it properly? Like I guess I don't envy his job either, 'cause
Yeah.
I understand
And
it's
I and I
complicated.
and I do think, just to be fair to Jeff Keighley, by the way, and I'll go out and say this nice thing: no matter how good you make the show, someone will complain.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now please make it shorter. Please make it shorter. Let's have a higher standard for certain things. Is how I feel about it.
I'm all good. I'm all for
Uh
3 hours. 30-minute pre-show, 2.5 hour main show. That's my
yeah.
personal take.
I'll say that's the max.
Mm.
That's the max. All right. Well, it is time to end. thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Ready Press Play, Back from the Dead. Don't forget to subscribe, give us a nice review, and tell your friends about the show. You can find the podcast at Ready Press Play on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at PowerUpDan. And Lewis?
At Chocolaka88.
That's right. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.